welcome back to the Neutral Voice. I'm your host, Samung Deb Barma, and this podcast series is a space for thoughtful conversations on neutrality, judgment, and professional responsibility, grounded in real experience across disciplines, where decisions shape outcomes beyond the room. Today's guest is Ms. Luciana Drimel Dias, a dispute resolution professional and academic with over 3 decades of experience in law, mediation, and conflict management. Ms. Luciana, thank you so much for joining us.
This is my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, for your institution, the Neutrals.org, inviting me for this wonderful morning, or not morning, if we're talking to India. I'm in the morning here in Brazil, but it's really a pleasure to be here and to contribute to the development of the mediation and ADR in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the kind words, and really we appreciate you taking the time to join us. So, Luciana, your work has consistently focused on empowering individuals and organizations to take ownership of their decisions and their future. In many ways, the idea sits at the heart of effective dispute resolution. In ADR, one of the most important disciplines for the neutral is to support the process while ensuring that the decisions remain entirely with the parties. But often, that expectations that the parties bring into the room are quite different. So, can we talk about if there's any misunderstanding on the role of a neutral as a mediator or in any ADR processes from the parties that come into it? And likewise, what can we talk about the boundary of influence from the point of a neutral?
Well, this is a very important question, but it's a very tricky one because at the end of the day, you said two important words and a third one that could uh, make us a little bit concerned. The two important ones: empowering and support. This is the root. This is the core of the neutral in a mediation session. You empower, and you support the process. You empower parties, and you support the process. So this is the very key element, because when you say that you support the process in order to make the parties um, understand what their role in the conflict. Because when you are in a conflict zone, you cannot see clearly what are the main issues, because you're so emotionally involved. So the role of the neutral is to make them understand, to bring them to the cortex of their brains, to take some decisions not emotionally, but rationally, which is not easy. So, said that, the support is that support bringing the parties to a common place, to a common ground, where they can see more clearly the the issues of their conflict. And on the other way, bringing them to this clarity of their minds, trying to put aside the emotions. Um, on the other side, the neutral has the role of empowering them to notice that they can resolve that, because we are not used to it, because we are used to transfer our responsibility to others. This is the history of the humanity. We transfer our responsibility to others. We transfer our responsibility even after the maturity. We transfer to the parents. We transfer to the professors. We transfer to the governments. We transfer to um, uh, the chiefs. We transfer. So this is, I would say, this is the most important and the most difficult role of the neutral, to allow them to decide, to allow them to make mistakes, even to make mistakes. Because when you see that a party, maybe for you, especially us, that we are from legal field, uh, when you see that maybe feels for you like a disadvantage for the parties, you need to let them experiment their own decisions and the consequences. So empowering has to do with that. Let them know that, yes, wrong or right, and between quotes, because there's no wrong, no right. It's your own life. You know what you have to do with your own life. So it's to give them again the power of their lives. And this is not easy. It's to enlighten them, empower them. And this is not easy. So um, if you are not still in this moment to give them this enlightenment, this empowerment, because it's a process inside the mediation session. So you have to control the yes, the process, meaning giving them space, giving them confidence, giving them a reliable space to be until they feel that they can take their own decision. So what is in our mind, in our hands, I would say, in our hands is to say, okay, please, I want to hear you, Mr. Samung. I want to hear you, Miss whatever, Miss Lucy. Okay, I want you to talk about everything you want to talk about here, which is not common in adversarial processes. So you have to guarantee. You have to guarantee the principles. You have to guarantee um, parity. You have to guarantee that both sides will have the same treatment. You have to guarantee. You have to guarantee confidentiality. You have to guarantee your entire listening, your presence. So yes, this is what a neutral. This is the role the neutral has to have. But talking about the empowerment, this is the next step. The empowerment will come when people get really safe. So this is your role, to make them safe, to make them understand that it's a safe place and that they are safe with you. And you have a lot of techniques. It's not my point here, but you have a lot of techniques. You have the caucus. You have the moments, the cross caucus. You have the when you make them to understand the role of each other, and so on and so forth. This is not the theme of my point here, but yes, you have a lot of techniques that you can feel them comfortable, and more than comfortable, safe. But I would say most of all, you have to just to be human and to give them your humanity for them, your respect and humanity. So listen to them carefully. Be with them with your entire presence. I would say mindfulness. Mindfulness. So the boundaries of the influence. Here if you have those foundations, the boundaries of the influence will be very simple to manage, because of course you have different models. You have the facilitative mediation, you have the evaluative mediation, but you will do it very in a very master way when you have those foundations. What I say about mastering those moments. For example, if you want to talk to some proposal, for example, you will have to understand that if you bring the proposal for both parties in a joint session, it will not be the best technique. So it would be very important to be in a caucus session that you can hear, and you can even give them some support of questioning, if that proposal can be attractive, or can let me say fulfill the needs, and so on. So you can do it in a caucus session. You can do it in a cross caucus session with the lawyers. This is very nice to talk separately with the lawyers. But remember, the lawyers, they're not the protagonists. Even though it's important to cover the legal aspects, but they will never be the people that will decide. So don't give them more attention to the lawyers instead of the parties. I think this is an important thing to talk. And so you have techniques to cover these boundaries of influence. But I would say don't do it in a joint session. Don't do it. You can also do it after the session You can also give them the proposal of the mediator. Some um, some I would say models, tools of mediation, they have this possibility of the neutral's proposal after the session. If nobody went to any place, so the neutral could propose something. This is very common in US, for example. So when you have the grounds, when you have the foundation, the model um, of the mediation, okay, it has to do with culture. It has to do with um, the area of the mediation. It has to do with the movement. It has to do with the experience of the mediator. But so that's why I don't like to make black and white between facilitative and evaluative. There's no black and white. There's there are the foundations, empowering and supporting humanity, mindfulness, and within those foundations, you can decide if you are going to be more evaluative or more facilitative in that case. So I would say that I don't like black and white. I think we have gray zones that you always know. You will always know when you are mediating. The rest is theory. Oh, because facilitative is not good, evaluative is not good. For me, it's not the thing. The thing is, you have to feel the parties, you have to feel the moment, you have to feel the case. And feeling all of this with your techniques, you will discover what will fit better for the parties. I would say that it's about.
Thank you so much. I think first and foremost, bringing across to light the delicate nature of the whole situation. But at the same time, I think as you kept on emphasizing on the fact that it is not a black and white
Yeah.
situation, although there is a place for techniques, but again, it's to be adapted to each and every unique set of parties' situation. I think the aspect of humanizing being a human, I think that comes across as very needful. Thank you for addressing this delicate situation. I think it was wholesomely addressed.
You were very good in rephrasing. Congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
it. You took the core. It's exactly what I said. I took 7 minutes to say something that you resume in 30 seconds. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, I think also I would be interested to know from you that when parties seek advice from mediators or any ADR professionals exercising the role of neutrality, how is the support provided in practice?
Yes. Well, it's totally related with the last question. When you give them your your presence, and your mindfulness, which are in a certain way the same. Your presence, your mindfulness, they are different sides of the same coin. um, well, when you are totally into the mediation, seeking advice is something that it's very common because it's a result of their confidence in you. But you have to understand um, your your role in that place. Normally, you have lawyers in the table at the table. Normally, you have lawyers. So in that case, you have to also involve them in those questions because sometimes those advices they are not even your field of knowledge because you don't need to be an expert in the theme of the mediation to mediate. But suppose that it's your field of knowledge, considering that we are lawyers, okay? But there are mediators that are not lawyers; they are engineers, they are shrinks, or I don't know. So in that case, what would you do? Um, First of all, since the beginning, involve the lawyers because they are the experts and they have the confidence of their clients. So they have to be totally into the process. While they are into the process, they have to participate with the solution too, especially with the um, understanding of the proposals. Because evaluate the options. This is not really the role of the mediator. This is one of the roles of the lawyers. Evaluate the options. You can give them some clarity, like questioning, even to the lawyers, even to the lawyers. So give them again this clarity of the cortex, of the brain cortex, because it's here where you rationalize your uh, your decisions. Maybe the lawyers are not prepared to do it because they're so into the conflict, and not just this, they are so adversarial that they don't help. So and you will have two problems or two conflicts to to solve: the conflict itself and the lawyers' conflicts. Because sometimes lawyers and not and I would say very often they are more litigated than the parties. So you have to deal with that, and you have to deal. Believe me, don't put them aside. You have to deal with them because um, parties chose them. Okay. Otherwise, they will totally jeopardize your session. Totally. So bring them to the side of the mediation. Not take them aside. This is not really an easy task. It's harder than with the parties. When this happens, it's harder than with the parties. But bring them because they will give you the support to the advice, to the options, to evaluate options because it's not your role. But it will happen that the parties will ask you something. In which moment you can do it? You can do it in caucus that you are with lawyers and with lawyers, no, with the lawyer and the party in a separate, individual session. You can give them some aspects of the proposal. Um, but I would say it's not really your opinion. You just have to show them the pitfalls and and you have to show them the implications. You have to show them, but how can you do it? Explaining like a teacher? No, you have to do it questioning to make them see what will be the best opportunity or option, or to gather more information to give the other party them to give them let them know your proposal. There's one thing that I remembered here that we have to talk about the um, what we would say shuttle mediation. There are some models of mediations, or I wouldn't say this is not really a model, but it's very um, uh, inside some cultures. This kind of caucus, and the mediators goes from this table to that table, from this room to that room, and we could say we can have it in person, and you have two different rooms, or online that you have this this breakout room and the other breakout room, and it's very common this kind of um, uh, shuttle mediation. The mediator goes from this room to another room, and so on and so forth, the whole time, and almost never they together, the parties together, joint sessions. In this case, it's more easy to understand this model of advices or evaluate options. In this case, it's more feasible to have more from the mediator. But I would always suggest to have those open questions and more direct questions from what the case will bring for you. But if you ask me if I think this is the best model, I would say no, because uh, since this is a communication, a process to the communication, to improve communication between parties, so or among parties, I would say I think this uh, um, caucuses each time. I don't think it's the best model for me, for my culture. We are Latin. We need this contact. We need eye contact. We need people to improve our conflict. So I would say, I don't think it's the best solution for us, for our culture. So that's why I said there's no formula. Okay, there's no formula. So trying to wrap up, the advices and the evaluation of the options. Again, there's no black and white. You have possibilities to do it, possibly, and I would say the best option is to be with the lawyers and give them the opportunity to evaluate, to give the parties the advices. But you can make questions to help them to have this clarity, even the lawyers. And if they are very adversarial, you have to engage them in the process. Totally. And the last thing that I would say is you can be in cross caucus with the lawyers. This is in order to bring them, to engage them, this is a good strategy to be with the lawyers, just the lawyers. Because you can talk to them in a very direct way. You can put them on the same page. Please come here, lawyers. So this is a good strategy too. I like that too. That's what I would say for those topics.
Okay, thank you. I think it's the way you have responded, your given your observation. I think it's very graphical, something that me as well as I believe all the listeners will be able to visualize, and something that I can carry home is cannot take away the present, like the aspect of the lawyers that are representing the parties. And I think it was interesting when you mentioned about conflict not just being like one dimensional, but there's conflict within the conflict because of the adversarial nature between the lawyers that can possibly give rise. But as much as you talked about the model or the techniques that can be followed, but I appreciate you making it unique to each culture or what would work best, and for giving your honest opinion about it as well. So appreciate that. Then I would also want to know, since you have years of experience, how does decision ownership affect the parties' confidence, their commitment to the agreement, and the durability of the resolution?
Yes, you have the answer already. Yes, when the parties, they are the owners of the decision. Of course, you have a lot of gains. So I would say for me, the first important gain is to lead their own lives. And this opportunity is very precious in every dimension. You don't need to be in a conflict, but maybe the conflict is an internal conflict. And when you lead the situation and you say, okay, this is my decision, no matter what the consequences will be, I think it's a very powerful and gives you, above all, freedom. You have the power of the freedom because you are free from others' opinion. You are free from others' decisions. You are free from others' influences. And this is the beauty and the beauty and the beast. So the beauty is, well, I'm free to do it. And the beast, your beasts, well, I have to take all the consequences for me because I cannot blame anyone. I cannot blame anyone because I decided. This is your decision. And not all of the people, they are prepared to it. That's the question. People are not prepared to it because as society we are not we've been not preparing for taking our own decisions. It's better. I'd rather have an oppressive decision from others than take my best decision from my own by myself. And well, this is a very challenging moment of the humanity. Very challenging because taking your own decision is not easy, and not everybody is prepared for it. That's the point. That's why not always you reach the agreement or the settlement, because because people are not prepared. They prefer to have someone else telling them what to do. And you have to deal with that, with the frustration of not having this final or um, this happy ending, because it's true. So, what is the impact of the ownership of the decision? Well, I think should be something very special because, well, this is my decision, but it's also very scary and not easy. But talking about the agreement itself, normally, if the mediation session or sessions were very well conducted or well conducted, people will feel that, well, it's an advantage to commit and to I mean to go into the decision and to make things happen because, well, I arrived at that point, and it's I have more advantages for that. So that's the beauty, because normally you don't need any kind of enforcement for those kinds of decisions, because, well, it's good for me and good for you. But let's not be naive, because not always is like that, because you have a lot of factors, and sometimes the building was not so well constructed, and you will have some issues after the agreement. But normally, the commitment, the confidence, and the decisions are they last, because normally they are good for both sides.
Okay, thank you. I think it ties back to what you stated in the beginning regarding the very nature of human beings, that is not to take responsibility and to cast responsibility on someone else. But I think from this discussion, I think it also highlights on the role of the mediators, or one playing the role of neutrality to empower the parties to come to their own decision. But I think it also comes with, as you use the analogy of a beast, to be prepared for the consequence. So I think we'll have to wrap up our conversation here. But really appreciate this very thoughtful reflections drawn from lived experience in conflict engagement and dialogue. I believe these things perhaps are easier said than done. But I think one thing that stands out is to come with more mindfulness and presence. As you said, I think that is something very needful and important. So thank you.
I would say just one last thing.
Yes.
All those strategies, even for us as mediators, they are all part of a learning process of the humanity, of taking their own responsibilities, of taking their own freedom, of taking their own humanity. So this is all about a learning process of the humanity. And that's why I believe so much in those strategies, because at the end of the day, they are not just techniques, they are strategies to make us better humans. Okay? So we can be better humans if we take our responsibilities, we take our freedoms, we take our lives. So this is all about a learning process of the humanity. And that's why I believe so much in those strategies. The techniques leads you to strategies to see yourself, to perceive yourself as a human being, that it's a learning process of being more human. Just this.
Thank you very much. I think this would be the last words, and really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. And we look forward to continuing this dialogue in future episodes, should time and space align. So, to all our listeners, thank you for joining us. This has been The Neutral Voice.
Okay, so thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here with you, and I'll be pleased to come whenever you call me.